Welcome my boys and girls, I hope you're all doing good, having a great day. Today we are trying out two new essences from Inferno 9 for a wizard. First one is going to be a Helm for a black hole that gives us more damage. Second is going to be the legs for a disintegrate that also gives us more damage. So let's go take a look at what we have here. The essence for the Helm. So if we go change this, inherit the new SN, you deal 9.5% increased damage for 2 seconds to enemies hit by black hole up to maximum of 28.5%. Alright, let's equip this, and the awaken bonus gives us a 10% cooldown for the black hole. So interesting. Now let's go take a look at the skill and the tooltip. If something been changed, let me equip. All right, so what does it say here in the tooltip? Everything remained the same. 9.5% increased damage for 2 seconds to enemies hit by a black hole and up to maximum of 28.5%. So if I were to go and use the black hole, it basically looks the same as before, and that is going to be interesting because if we go take a look at another essence here, silver lining right there, black hole now devour power of the enemy squad within, increase the damage you deal by 28.5%. But I guess this will not be working with the offhand that we got. Something I will be trying out once I get that. But as for how it works, how quickly it stacks, let's go to a training dummy and see how quickly this stacks up. Do we need to hit the same enemies like 6 seconds, like for 6 seconds, or it can be stacked within 2 seconds on an enemy? We'll see from here. So let me quickly use it. Do I see the buff getting triggered? Does it say a buff is triggered anyway? I'm not seeing any of the buff, the damage buff here. So it's basically kind of hard to tell. So let me quickly remove all my legendary gems. There we go, end up removing everything. Now if I go and take hit the training dummy. All right, we can see actually on the training dummy there are 3 stacks of the black hole. It was right there on the enemy itself. So if I go and use it again, it does stack up to 3 times instantly, which is pretty decent. Now as for the disintegrate, let's go take a look at that new essence as well for the legs. And there we have it. You deal 9.5% increased damage for 2 seconds to enemies hit by disintegrate up to maximum of 28.5%. Pretty much same description just for a disintegrate. And if I were to go and take a look at the description here, you deal 9.5% increased damage for 2 seconds to enemies hit by disintegrate up to a maximum of 28.5%. Now, it is going to be interesting to see if they both stack together. We'll see. If I use disintegrate, I can actually see that it is currently working on the enemy. Right there on the top, we can see disintegrate just keep on triggering, giving me that damage buff. And if I were to use a black hole, it does at least show here that I am stacking them both together, and so we have about over 50% damage increase to the training dummy. That could be somewhat interesting right there. Yeah, this could be interesting. And I'm seeing armor break. Is it from the disintegrate? I think it is from the disintegrate shoulder, able to have more critical hit chance. But do we get... Yep, it does actually break armor from the black hole. That is interesting. So they both work together, at least in my understanding right now. And not bad, not bad. This could be something useful. And if we were to go and use the new chest with this. Let's see how it looks. We already tried it out early, and this is how it's gonna be. Basically, this could be something we will be trying out with more new essences as we obtain them. But there we go. That is gonna be the first look on these two new essences. And now for the final thoughts, are these any useful or are they useless essences? And in my opinion, at least in my understanding, not a single essence that comes with some sort of debuff that can increase your damage is, at least in my opinion, is going to be considered useless. The reason for that is maybe right now we don't have the essences to get a use out of these essences, but that can change in the future with few new essences that will allow us to get the benefit of more damage increase from a helm of a black hole. And it could be the same for a disintegrate, like combining it with a future essence and dealing a bit more damage. So in my opinion, this is actually a really good addition. Even if you cannot use it right now, that doesn't mean you will not able to use this essence in future and combine it with something else. And in my understanding, if we were to go take a look at, let's say, to the other black hole essence, silver lining here, this essence here, at least in my understanding, increase your character damage by 28%. And what we are equipped with right now, you only debuffing the enemy so they can take more damage from you. And that is such a big difference, because let's say if we were to go and equip this and we get 28.5% increased damage buff, and if you wanted to go and use something for a meteor, let's say, there we go, after casting meteor your damage is increased by 19%, and these two will not stack. You will be getting only the buff from a helm and not from the shoulder. It has been tested by a lot of people and been confirmed. Game will only consider stacking up one of these buffs because you are getting a damage buff for your whole character. Whatever you will do versus anyone, you will be getting this damage buff. But with these new essences for a black hole, it only actually works against an enemy, and it can be actually stacked with this essence for a disintegrate because they only work versus the enemies and put a debuff on them like we have seen here. Oh my goodness, I end up changing the disintegrate, but yeah, it does put a debuff on the enemy, and they both can basically break the armor or put a debuff on the enemy, and they both stack together. So in my opinion, pretty good essences, even if not right now. In future, definitely I can see use for them as we get more essences for the business. So I would say really nice addition, and looking forward to using them in some way, if not now, then in future. I'm signing off. See you all in the next one. You guys have an excellent day. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later, guys.